Have you ever stopped to think that maybe there's more to your old school textbooks than what's on the surface? Well, today we're going to uncover the hidden purpose lurking inside a totally standard math book. And believe me, it's a secret mission that goes way beyond just solving for x. Okay, let's just dive right in. I want you to take a second and really think back to 8th grade math class. For a lot of us, that just brings back a flood of memories, right? Confusing word problems, endless equations, and this constant pressure to just find the right answer. But what if finding the answer wasn't really the point? What if the real lesson was something else entirely?
So for this explainer, this is our primary source, an 8th grade mathematics textbook. Now, we're not going to sit here and solve the problems. Nope. Instead, we're going to investigate it. We're reading the foreword, the preface. We want to understand the philosophy behind why this thing was even made. Let's find out what its authors were really trying to teach us.
To get to the bottom of this secret mission, we first have to understand the problem the authors were trying to solve. And it turns out it wasn't a math problem at all. It was a learning problem.
This quote from the book's foreword really just gets right to the heart of it. The authors had a name for the old way of doing things: bookish learning. They saw it as this system that created a huge disconnect, a gap between what happened in the classroom and a kid's actual life at home.
And you know, this wasn't just some abstract academic issue. It was an emotional one. This old way of teaching was making school, and I'm quoting here, a source of stress or boredom. So the mission was to completely transform learning from a total chore into something joyful and engaging.
And here's the fundamental shift they were aiming for. The idea was to move away from rote learning, just memorizing facts and formulas, to a brand new, child-centered approach. The goal was to connect school to the real world through things like hands-on, imaginative activities.
So, okay, they've defined the problem. What was the new mission? How could math, of all subjects, be the thing to bridge this gap and make learning meaningful? Well, the answer was a simple but pretty revolutionary principle.
This quote right here is the core idea. It comes from the National Curriculum Framework of 2005, and it's this powerful, simple principle. This entire textbook is built on that one foundation: make math relevant. Don't just teach concepts in a vacuum, show kids how they actually apply to the world they live in.
And this all leads to the ultimate goal, which is captured in this amazing word from the preface: mathematize. Now, this isn't about turning kids into human calculators, not at all. It's about developing a new way of thinking, using mathematical ideas to understand the world in a much richer, more meaningful way.
And how do you teach that? Well, it's not through boring lectures. This textbook was designed around active methods. It's about giving students time to just wonder, to discuss ideas in small groups, to learn by doing, and even to create their own rules. It's all about active discovery, not just sitting there and passively listening.
Okay, so that's the philosophy. It sounds great, but does it actually show up in the math problems themselves? Let's take a look at a few examples and see this mission in action.
Let's start with Chapter 2, Linear Equations. Instead of just a sterile solve for x, the problems are about real situations, like how old is Sahil's mother, or how many 2 rupee coins does Bonzi have. It grounds this really abstract idea of an equation in something tangible and relatable.
Or how about data handling? The goal here isn't just to stare at a bunch of raw numbers. It's about teaching students how to organize that data, how to find patterns, and how to tell a story with it using tools like histograms and pie charts. It's literally about turning data into meaning.
And then you get to practical geometry, and the emphasis is right there in the name: practical. It's not about just memorizing that a rhombus has 4 equal sides. It's about giving students the tools and the instructions to actually construct a rhombus themselves. This is classic learning by doing.
So when you put all these examples together, a much bigger picture starts to come into focus. This textbook isn't just teaching you different math topics, it's trying to teach you a whole new way of thinking. And here it is. This is the secret mission, laid out right there in the note for the teacher. The real skills being taught are things like logic, argumentation, creativity, and communication. Getting the right answer is just a byproduct of learning how to think. And to teach these deeper skills, the textbook itself had to change its whole vibe. I mean, this illustration is a perfect example. By using child-friendly language and simple diagrams, the book was designed to be way more approachable, way less formidable, basically inviting students into the whole process of thinking.
Okay, let's bring this all home. What's the final takeaway from our little investigation into this textbook?
So, in the end,
The secret mission of 8th grade math was never really about solving for x. It's a training ground for life. It's about learning how to approach any problem in any field with logic, with creativity, and with the confidence to find a solution.
And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating final question, doesn't it? If this deeper mission to teach a way of thinking is hiding inside a math book, what are the hidden missions in history class, or science, or literature? What were we really learning all along?